Brian and I are between you and some drinks. High bar of what we're trying to exceed. Johnny Walker or Paulson and Brian Walls. But wanted to just kick off the last 10 minutes on closing remarks. We are so grateful with all the thought leaders today, the expertise, the varying degrees of expertise, and it would not be remiss if internally at Dexonic we always run postmortems and learnings and takeaways. My session with Jason this morning was about learning in this fast evolving market, and so we wanted to spend a quick closing session, possibly around an interactive session. What did you guys learn? What could we share with each other as takeaways? And maybe I'll start with you, Brian. What's one takeaway from this great group of conversations today?
I knew we were going to have this conversation, and I had prepared a takeaway this morning, but that's not the takeaway I have now. I have actual genuine takeaways.
Substance.
One of the takeaways I got was on the panel I moderated from Manish was the idea that this event is so focused on the value, the underlying tech, and the products that can be built, and that is just so invigorating compared to prices. And the idea how looking at the prices in the short term can be misleading and upsetting, and it takes you away from the value of the underlying tech. So I found a invigoration for the user-owned, decentralized, and solutions of the technology.
Warren Buffett's famous quote is, "The stock market is an inaccurate learning machine."
Yeah.
And I was inspired by all the product demos outside, the discussions around use cases that talk about the durability of what's going on, the adoption, and it's very consistent. I think you're seeing a shift of our industry away from price speculation to asset allocators, VCs asking for why is this durable? What is the use case?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll pause there. We'll open it up to any other takeaways or audience participation.
I appreciate that some of the talks about the innovation in Chicago and how they're supporting the ecosystem of Web3 and Lincoln Yards being a potentially great tech hub for a lot more innovation than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, you're stealing my first takeaway of innovation is a team sport. It does take a community. It takes different domain experts to participate to create better innovation for everyone.
I also taken by this, in some ways I was not expecting the venue to be the star today, but it really this space really lent itself to an experience where I feel like we were very focused on connections today. I saw so many people in the lobby, in the demo den, in the near protocol area, just so many connections. I met so many people, and it's that reminder that getting together in the right venue really generates so many discussions and so many opportunities that you just can't get by scheduling Zoom calls and and I'll send you my Calendly and then we'll hook something up. It's not the same as bumping into somebody on the line and coming away with a new idea and a business card. So that's the other learning I took today was that this type of space and these types of people together create a lot of spontaneous connections.
Pick the next one from the crowd.
Paul, I think that one of the great things I've seen, and you've talked about leadership and how it's important in driving this next phase of innovation. And I've just been amazed that, I guess a year ago, when this whole idea was hatched and you started pitching this to everyone, I think, to use a baseball analogy, if you build it, they will come. I mean, this event just keeps getting better and better, and the technology and the ability to learn and the ability to meet people. So I think it's just a nod to the leadership that Chicago has, the leadership and innovation and just the great things that can happen when you have leadership and technology and ideas working together. So thank you, because it really has turned into a remarkable event.
And again, we couldn't do it. My team couldn't do it without everyone in this audience too. I think, again, it speaks to this ethos in Web3, but also in Chicago and in the Midwest of collaboration. Even though it's outside of your core priorities for the week, people really are interested in seeing this technology adopt.
Yeah. The other thing, well, you might be able to speak better to it. I had the experience today of like the full stack is here, right? It's like the big institutional LPs, the VCs, the builders, the startups, and how that all, and the curious people, right? How that all kind of is together, like, and you've always spoke about that, like you need to get the full stack all in one place.
We think about the money chain, LPs to GPs to founders, and recycle it back to the GPs. But also, Brian, to your point, that there's a full stack of the tech infrastructure.
Yes. From
Layer 1 blockchain, our partners at here with Layer 2, Solana is represented here, and then all the way up to Layer 7. Layer 7 are the applications, the use case. I was so inspired by the last panel, the immersive internet. You now overlay Gen AI with metaverse and spatial and blockchain. Society's being thrown a lot of disruptive technologies right now, and people like us need to put that together, put the guardrails on these applications so that you do guide it towards positive.
On the pitch to you, did you get anything today that kind of pivoted you on anything? Did you get something where you kind of felt like, that's a new insight for me?
Let's start with the audience on that. What's fresh thinking that you might have picked up?
I'll share something. Coming from New York, sometimes we're a little bit more segregated when it comes down to traditional institutions being interested in Web3, right? Sometimes you might see them once in a while, but not the way that they came together here and shared their insights, which was refreshing from my perspective. I'm fully just in Web3, but sometimes it is good to hear the other side that is also helping drive this, but what their perspective is based on the recent markets and where they see the future heading. So I think it was the panel that Brian did moderate that was very insightful as a fresh perspective.
Brian's one of our LPs at Dexonic, and he's one of the most value-added limited partners a VC could ask for. He sits and co-works with us, and we debate all the time on what's changed, what's fresh thinking. And this question I should have anticipated you would have asked. Look, I think LPs can be too realistic, sometimes overly pessimistic. VCs can be overly optimistic. I believe there are crypto sprouts that are thawing the crypto winter. You see a lot of negative news in crypto media and mainstream media. Not to be too optimistic, I think there are more sprouts today after the conference in my mind than before the conference. In my mind, maybe it's one or two sprouts. Maybe
you're the one who introduced me to the term doom scrolling, and several months ago, and I was thinking of it during the media panel when somebody pointed out, right, like, it's that old phrase, like, nobody reports on all the planes that landed today. That's not news, right? And so there is a negative bias to media, and you need to get out of following the Telegram channels and into talking to the founders to get that excitement back.
And great investors are looking for that phase change. When things are overheated and everything in the news sounds great. Oh man, try and sell your try and take risk off. And we might be another phase change where all the bad news is out. You're starting to see all the various restructurings going on, or the uncovering of leverage or counterparty risk. You might see this starting to turn. At least in our world, where we focus on the mainstream adoption of Web3, you are starting to see amazing use cases around Web3 data, Web3 ownership and commerce, immersive internet, gaming. I think I'm coming out with 8 sprouts rather than 2 sprouts.
That's great. That's great. How did people find, like, was there any favorite panels today? Any panels that surprised you?
Fine.
The Chicago one.
The Chicago
I
one.
did it because you hear so much negative stuff about Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
Then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I like my home again.
That's great. That's great. The Chicago one was great. Yeah, we had good people up there. Anyone else?
I'm a huge gamer, so I really like the immersive Web3 panel.
Yeah, that was solid. Yeah,
Gaming holds.
yeah.
We're so blessed to have three experts, and 4 experts. I should include Dave.
There were 4 experts up there, and I for me, I just like was sitting there, just like, oh, I don't think of technology and use words like, you know, triggering memories and experience, and so it's so great to kind of get people from that world to kind of point out, like, there's more to it than just owning an NFT that might go up in value. There's a lot more to it.
Any favorite product demos?
Oh yeah. Did anybody walk around and see products? Did anybody use the olive
They're
machine?
out there. They're out there.
Yeah. Did anybody use the olive machine and like buy some Bitcoin today?
Well, you still have 30 more minutes.
So 30 more minutes. Yeah, there you go. There's 30 more minutes. You can just.
You have $10 bills and no transaction fees, so sit me outside.
There you go. Everybody should buy $10 worth of Bitcoin today.
I think Brian should buy one like everybody here. It's a closing ceremony.
I'm buying everybody a drink. That's what I'm doing.
Look, on the product demos, it was great seeing product people look at other product. And again, it's this ethos of we're in Web3, you have a relative expertise. In my world, it's gaming and commerce. You take that fresh lens at a trading infrastructure company, and you start to, innovation is that intersection of 2 different expertise. And I'm just so proud of seeing product people talk to product people and iterating on the next product cycle. And these are things that you can recreate in real life, in spaces like this, but hopefully increasingly in spatial, and Vision Pro, but certainly seeing it in real life does give me additional conviction to do more.
Yeah, and on the financial side, I saw it as well. Like, I could see, like, Dan Kerrigan from NASDAQ talking to Brett from Architect, and then connecting with Ron from Hyro, and like there's all of these, trading infrastructure, financial infrastructure groups, like immediately connecting and saying we need to follow up. There's synergy here. So, what do you think?
Brian, bring us home.
Oh no. Okay, so I'm going to bring it home with we're going to thank everybody. It's such an honor, really, to have the event, and we always just are so tickled that everybody shows up. So it's just like, and I'll go back to like last year, it was like an idea in the office, right? So we went from the idea of like, should we have a hackathon, which I confess complete ignorance to maybe we could do an investor day, and Paul being that quick iteration person. Like, if you're a founder, he wants you to iterate quickly. If you sit in the office with them, you have to iterate even faster. So it just kind of goes like, what would it look like? Where would it be? Da-da-da-da. What would it be? And bam, Web3 Investor Day came together. And when everybody shows up, we're really tickled. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into it, but it's amazing that everybody's here and all of the connections that everybody made. And we're just really appreciative.
I would be remiss if we didn't, acknowledge Grace and all her leadership in producing this event. Lauren, Danny, our whole team, Sarah.
And somewhere Keith Johnson is keeping me in check.
My humble wife who tolerates all my hard work.
Right.
But thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much.